Hello, everyone. This is Running on Empty. Hi, everyone. Sorry about being kind of late. The interview went a bit over. I've basically interviewing this entire week in the morning, and they started like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., so if I sound a little exhausted after, that's why. I'm usually just busy in calls. It's just Zoom calls after Zoom calls. And it's not just Zoom calls, it's Zoom calls and technical interviews. So whenever I have to switch context to go into sort of normalcy, it's funny to call this the normal state of things on stream. It's a little difficult too, but hey, welcome. Thursday as well. I'm not really sure how it's gonna go, but I have an interview that's gonna overlap quite a bit with the day, and it's one of those weird informal interviews for like I don't know how to say this. Nepotism is alive and real. If you know somebody, it's much easier to get into any industry out there. So this is somebody that I know, and they're fast tracking me because they want me on the team. And it wasn't even. It was just kind of out of nowhere. It's just kind of like, oh, I had no clue. They reached out again, very serendipitous for them to reach out to me as I'm going and starting to find roles again to do stuff. And they were like, "We want you on our team, so can we fast track this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'll talk to you on Thursday, I guess." So depending on how far it goes, because again, I could bomb out. I could absolutely fail it. I have no clue. Or they might not like me in the end, right? Because it's a larger process of meeting the rest of the team. Then maybe we get the stream. I'm assuming we will probably though, not because I will bomb out, but because I don't think it'll go more than 2 or 3 hours. I don't think so. Just because 2 or 3 hours for me is also kind of a killer timeline for an interview. It reminds me of on-sites, and I don't miss the idea of on-sites. I don't miss the idea of going to a place, doing like multiple on-sites in one day, and scheduling them all for the same time period. That doesn't. It's not really fun for me. So let's see how it goes. Not that it has to be fun. I mean, it's work. It's not really meant to be fun, but you know, it's also taxing, like mentally taxing, to go through all of that in one sequence, effectively. We got some fun things today. One, somebody's really mad at me on the on the YouTube channel. It's kind of funny actually. Two, somebody actually mentioned in Beyond Citadel, you can actually get the other ending by by breaking the other facts. Um, for some reason, when I shot them, they didn't break. So presumably that they have a lot of health on them. So we can actually check that out afterwards and see how that goes. Then we have some more flip side fights and some more infra. Okay, it's gonna be a fairly packed day. And looks like people really enjoyed the Minesweeper segment, so that was kind of fun. We might do a larger Minesweeper game at some point. I don't really know how though. As well, I realized that my Mad Lib game idea wouldn't really work because I had to come up with a new sentence every single time. As a reminder as well, Friday is the Infinity Nikki lookbook for most people. Tomorrow, my time at I think it was what 12 a.m., 2 a.m. Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Oh, no, well, I mean, on Friday, all submissions before 1 a.m. that day is wait, actually, uh, hmm. Yeah, Friday. Yeah, Friday on that day at 1 a.m. All submissions before that day. It's important to have all the submissions in, just because then I can add them. So please be sure to send them to me once you're done. You have the entire week. There's a rush, but and if you have them early, just DM me them just so I can get them in. Okay. Um, as well, you will be seeing your photos on the website. Again, I make a solemn promise, which is kind of funny. You know what? You want a technology rant? It's funny that a lot of technology is based on this idea of a ephemeral promise. It's something that you can't enforce. It's in many ways it's sort of like why I'm gonna sound like a crypto shill, but the one thing that I thought was really interesting was the contract I concept within a lot of Web3 stuff, like crypto stuff. The problem, again, is that it's 99% of the time used for scams. But there's something interesting about programming your literal desires into a technological piece, into a technical construct that has to be verified across a large enough domain of people before it's satisfied, right? Thus guaranteeing that everyone admits to you and them having a probably not lawful transaction, but at least a not even a legal one, but just a good transaction, one that benefited both parties as much as they wanted to per the terms of the contract. Obviously, there's a downside that most people can't write their own contracts. So either way, it's going to be up to you trusting someone in technology. There's a lot of trust in technology, and basically what I'm trying to say is when you see an OAuth button on the website, on the new website, which I'll link at some point, if it says sign into your Twitch, I swear I won't do anything with that token. You'll see the permissions that I take. It's very fine grained. I won't even need actually many permissions. I just need to know your username. That's it. Sure. But before we start all of that fun stuff, I've actually got something to show you all. So some people are pretty mad at me on the YouTube channel. Mind you, okay, so again, I need to remind everyone, this YouTube channel is not a YouTube channel. It's just a VOD channel. Like it's just a dump of videos. Basically, whatever happens here, we dump it, right? We just dump everything into this one channel, and we say, okay, whatever goes on there goes on here. Okay. Clearly, this model is working. I don't know why, but it's similar to long play stuff in the sense, I guess, that where you get to catch up on things. But also, it's just a VOD channel. Like that's how it usually goes on VOD channels. This is one person, Robert, who's been very mad at me. Actually, it's kind of funny actually. We get it. You don't understand art. The title should be Ramblings of a Madman. And I told him, you can just walk away, right? Like there's no need for you. There's no need for you to actually say anything, right? So what's funny is that like if you say something, what you should be doing is it's either be good, like either give solid critique and then no negativity. Because if you're being negative, it's just for your own satisfaction and a sense of retribution, quote unquote, which isn't really retribution because like there's nothing. It's a fake crime that you've made in your mind, that you've made up in your mind that you feel affronted by, right? But then Robert says, you can actually write a script for your videos, organize your thoughts with it, make a more engaging video rather than rambling and only entertaining people who have the attention span of an 8-year-old, or well, 8-year-olds. And if I recall, 8-year-olds don't have much, if any, knowledge of Doom, which is probably why you only have 2 comments in 5 days. Nothing wrong with trying to milk children for money, but obviously it's not working. You chose to make a shitty, low-effort video. And then I had to remind him, I was like, do you know what the channel's called, man? Like, it's not, this isn't, and I was like, did you know this channel's for live stream VODs and that you also don't pay my bills? And then I was also like, why are you still here if you don't like it? Why do they like hurting themselves? And then the accusation that that I'm milking someone for money, milking children for money, it seemed like a heavy accusation to make. And I was like, are you projecting Mr. Rockwell? Because I'm not kidding you, Robert used the same username across all of his accounts. So, and his profile picture before this profile picture was the same as his other accounts. So, yeah, he's been using the same name across all of his accounts. Mr. Rockwell, I don't know what's wrong with you, but this person reminds me of somebody who I like to call the ever persecuted, right? It's a category of person who they feel like everything that you're doing is an affront to them and specifically to them. And so therefore they must speak out about it because they're also in many ways the retribution, the divine punishment that God has sent down to, punish others. It's not exactly accurate to how they might think of themselves. There's an overlap of people who are really deep into a certain, religion that also believes that about themselves. But at least the general sentiment of them being the only solution to this stuff is it tends to be the case with these people. They tend to be sort of like the white knights of the world, never realizing that what they're doing is just the same as swinging their sword around and then random people get like cut up for no reason, right? Like it doesn't make sense. They could be putting all of this energy and effort into anything else. Especially on a VOD channel. it says right there, it says, is it not clear? No, I'm pretty sure it's clear. It's pretty clear, man. It's pretty clear that this is a VOD channel. It's probably the largest thing on this channel is this one thing that says VODs. Oh, and if you need the description, full gameplay throughs both on screen and off screen, sometimes lightly edited for your viewing pleasure. I actually need to change that. It's no longer edited. I don't care. I just tossed it on there. But I would have thought they would have known, given that everything is like a 6-hour thing, 7-hour thing. And also, of course, there's only 2 comments. Chat, like this is the funny thing. Everything that he's saying is like I think he genuinely thinks that this is like a real effort thing, and I think he genuinely thinks that that's gonna hurt me. But it's like, it's a VOD channel. Most VOD channels don't get any comments. Like most people who put up VODs of the streams get 0 comments. Like it's. It's funny to me because it's like, what do they expect is going to happen with a channel like this? Yeah, that's the normal state of things, is it gets 0 views. I just do it because people miss out on the streams. Like the only reason I started this whole thing was because people in the chats were like, basically the only reason why this started is because people in the chat kept on saying, "Oh, they missed the stream," and I was like, you know what? I'll just upload VODs for you, and I started doing it, and it's easy for me because it takes like 5 minutes. So I don't know. It's funny to me that he thinks that this is like a major deal, and then for some reason he throws out this nothing wrong with trying to milk children for money thing, which by the way, it's so funny to me because I don't think 8-year-olds are going to be watching 4-hour videos, 6-hour videos, 7 minutes, but that was the goodbye video. Even that one was like what? I feel like that one was a very long video though. Where is it? I mean, look, we played Minesweeper. I don't think an 8-year-old child is going to be watching Minesweeper for 2 hours, right? So it's a little unsettling that he just kind of threw that accusation out there. It reminds me a lot of people who project. In fact, many people do this. If you ever get like a random accusation from someone, look very closely at who they are, because the reality of it is that you would only know if that thought has come across your head in some way, right? Whether it's an experience that you yourself experience. So if that happened to Robert, my condolences, right? I don't want anybody to be taken advantage of, and I would want him to live a happy life in spite of what he's doing here. I don't really know what he's doing online. But if he's the one who's doing it, it's like, fuck off, you know what I mean? So you got to be careful about that, because that's a very weird thing to say out of nowhere. It's a very odd thing to just throw out in the world of like, you're milking children. It's like, that's what? Who even thinks of that? But the fact that I chose to make a shitty low effort video, I'm glad that he did recognize that, you know? In some way, I think deep in his heart, he realizes that he's being pushed into a corner by a person who loves to shitpost whenever people get mad at him. Because I love shitposting people whenever they get mad at me. And then he's realizing that, oh fuck, it's a VOD channel. Well, guess what? You chose to make a shitty low effort video, and so this statement seals his. This statement is the nail in the coffin. He realized after this what this channel was. He realized what this channel was, but it was too late for him to back out. He had to pull a pirate software. Yeah, he had to pull a pirate software. Anyways, this person still hasn't replied, so I think they got the understanding that I have no clue what the fuck they're saying. I just Google translated to Japanese as well as to some other language. I have no clue. It'd be hard to read without spaces, TBH. Perhaps he gave up on the third letter. Oh, so you're saying he's 8 years old, right? Because only 8-year-olds have that level of attention span. There's also, okay, that's the other funny part about this comment. It's why I love reading YouTube comments, because YouTube people are deranged in a very specific way. YouTube people are deranged in a way that reminds me of somebody who genuinely has a belief that they're better than everybody else. And so they sort of like look down on everybody else, not realizing that they're just the same. Because what's so wrong about rambling, and what's so wrong about just having fun with the process? You know what I mean? And what's so wrong about going back and forth with chat as well? Which is like, it doesn't really make much sense. No, you're saying that I don't put spaces in your titles. By the way, I didn't pay attention. Do you also name your variables like this? No, I get what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that it's not that hard to read. But, and that's the thing, right? If he had the attention span that he so seemingly separates himself from an 8-year-old by, right? If the chasm between his attention span and an 8-year-old's attention span, basically, you're not getting what I'm saying. If the chasm between his attention span, presumably, because presumably this is an older person, right? And the attention span of an 8-year-old is so wide that my videos are only for 8-year-olds, how did he not realize that this is a VOD channel? Clearly, if he's saying that I have no attention span, I don't know how he's not able to read it when I'm able to read exactly your sentences as they are, right? So it doesn't take that much attention span to go through that, and it's also, Chad, it's not that hard to read. I'm gonna be real too, and then it sort of makes me wonder again, how much of this is he projecting onto himself and onto the world out there? Holy shit, so effortlessly, you have a superpower. No, it's not a superpower. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you just get any random person to read like a combined sentence, it's very easy to. Because you just keep going until you recognize you do this anyways when you read, right? You just read up until you recognize the word, and then you stop, and then you just read the next word. That's how we form sentences anyways. It's not like there's words that have different meanings. How do I say this? There's only a handful of words within the English word that when combined make a whole different word. Like if you did this, like if you did that, right? That's a confusing sentence. Because what does that mean? Like what does that mean? What is the meaning of the sentence? It's either you cuckold people or you cuck old people, right? It's like you either cuck specifically old people or you cuckold people in general. Sentences, what the sentences that you made and the sentence that is this, there's basically no ambiguity. It's very, very straightforward. That's what I mean by like it's not hard to read. Like there's a version of a sentence that combines together that is actually very difficult to read because it changes the meaning depending on your reading. But those are that's not this case, right? So again, there's something funny about the fact that he goes in here and he says that and then he just has no clue. That's why I think he subconsciously, like his mind is telling him, no, stop, please stop doing this to yourself, you have to leave this. But I think he knows, subconsciously that yes, these are shitty low effort videos. These videos, chat, I'm not kidding you, these take me 5 minutes. They upload. The longest time that I have to wait for quote unquote is the YouTube checks, and I never actually check. I don't even care about copyright. Like it's, you see how it says copyright here, I don't care. I just schedule it. I upload it, I schedule it, I go do my own thing for the next like couple hours, and then I sleep. So yeah, it is shitty and low effort. That's actually the whole point of this channel. That's the whole point of all VOD channels. Also, you can name your variables like that. I don't. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if I can name my variables better, I will. But variable naming is very different from this. Again, this is a landmark. This is a landmark title. You almost like this is the only thing that has that format. The reason why you name variables like this, for instance, down here in the actual video titles, is for readability across larger amounts of instances. I don't type like that. That's why even what you're saying seems a bit absurd, because this is the only thing that's like this. Like, to me, that just says that, and you know, this is obviously true given that I know you to some degree. It's a skill issue because you're not that good at English, but that's also like, that's fine, right? I don't really care about the audience. I care about, you know, whatever I do. And this is also just the default naming. This is just the default naming of the channel. So it's like none of this is high effort. There is no effort here for a very obvious reason, right? But it's also not fair to say like, oh, I don't like I make all my titles like this. It's like, no, I make the channel titles like that, but that's because that's the default display on YouTube. But for everything else, it's normal words, right? Because the more of it there is, the worse it is. That's sort of why you do it differently. I wouldn't do that long term for a variable because that'd be absurd. But I do it here because this is just the default naming. I haven't changed it. So, you know, I have to school you, chat, sometimes and let you know that like it is on some level a skill issue for you at some point. Especially when it's the only thing on the channel, it's very hard to mess it up. But you know what? You're not as bad as Robert. Poor old Robert is stuck in this. You know what's funny? He's stuck in this one video, right? He can't leave. Every time he opens his YouTube, he gets this video. He gets his thumbnail. He's like, "Fuck! Why am I here again?" He's like, "God damn it!" And then Mr. Rockwell's all like, "I gotta leave another angry comment." I just want to imagine that. You know? You know what? I'm gonna like and love these. These are just so stupid to me. You know what? He has made my day happier because he's such a silly, silly old man who has no clue what's going on. Oh, it's so funny. You know what's funny too is 8-year-olds don't have much of any knowledge of Doom, and yet he's wrong because somehow this game got really popular. This game got really popular on TikTok and stuff, even before I played it. So I had no clue. What else was there? Oh, right. So this inspiration feature, I guess for you, it was always harder to read when there's no delineations. You know what your channels are called because they're shorter, but there are some other channels also have names without spaces, and you had no idea what they were actually called for years, like Chubby Emu. Well, so even Chubby Emu here, I'm pretty sure that one's actually capitalized when you go to the channel. It's just, oh, never mind. I mean, this is not that hard to read too, though. It's not that, this isn't very difficult. Like Chubby Emu is just Chubby Emu. You know what it is? Again, I think things like this are still skill issues in the sense of maybe you just never encountered the word chubby and emu. To be fair, these are very weird words. Like these are words that you'll never actually read. You only ever read the word chubby in the context of like penis or like a roller ground beef, and emu you only read in in the context of history because they're dead. I think they're dead. Are they dead? Emu. Oh wait, no, no, those aren't the one that's dead. What's the other dead bird? Dodo bird, dead bird, right? Well, anyways, unless you're Australian, you never use the word emu, so you know. But yeah, these inspiration things, eh? So I wanted to show you this too, but before we continue, these inspiration things are pretty interesting. One is I don't know where it gets this like Gunnar like AI art thing. Look, if you do like Infinity Nikki lookbook dress up contest, would create an Infinity Nikki fashion show themed around Beyond Citadel. A day in the life of a web phishing victim. Create a Doom theme arc in Planet Coaster and recreate the coin game, but with a twist. One of these is way harder than the others. Okay, two of these two are extremely hard. These two are like cursed on some level. Creates an Infinity Nikki fashion show themed around Beyond Citadel. Lookbook dress up contest themed around the forbidden brother sister love in featured in the game titled Beyond Citadel. Now I don't know why they have this system actually. It's one of those weird systems I don't really understand the purpose of because this doesn't really help you think of things. Again, if you believe that that ingenuity and like innovation comes from some angle that isn't already in existence somewhere else, right? Its form, but also the source of it, where it comes from, and the direction that it's pointing to cannot at all exist in any other form elsewhere, then this doesn't help you. Because AI is effectively a regurgitation of concepts that you already know, right? It couldn't create thumbnail. Oh, recreate Beyonce the Forbidden Love with Nikki outfits. Couldn't create the thumbnail. The Forbidden Romance in Beyonce that was recreated using outfits from Infinity Nikki. The video explores the potential romantic connections between characters. Oh my god, wait, chat, there's an outline. I didn't know this. Why are there outlines? Oh, chat, it actually makes thumbnails. Look. These are awful. These are genuinely awful. Wait, so what if we try this? You know what I mean? What if we just try this? How does this work? Like, you save this idea. What happens if you save it? Okay, so now we do a fashionable twist on forbidden love. Okay. Wait, I introduced the concept of Beyond Citadel and its forbidden love story. Explain the connection between Beyond Citadel and Infinity Nikki and why fashion choices are important. Highlight the video's focus on recreating Beyond Citadel romance through Infinity Nikki's outfits. Wow. The Forbidden Love story, for exploring the narrative. Sorry, I'm so gassy. I had a quick lunch before this because of all the interviews. Provide a brief overview of the Beyond Citadel love story and the challenges faced by the characters. Discuss the emotional depth and complexities of the story. Highlight the forbidden nature of the love and the obstacles the characters face. Nikki's outfits as symbols. I like this one. Make it based on the depravity of the forbidden love. A fashionable twist on forbidden love. Explain the connection. Highlight the video's focus. Okay, I don't think it worked. Couldn't update. Make it based on the deplorableness of the forbidden love. That's a good word. See, deplorableness. Introducing a deplorable forbidden love through fashion. Briefly introduce the game Beyond Citadel and its infamous forbidden. It is infamous forbidden romance, highlighting the tragic and controversial nature of the relationship. Explain how Infinity Nikki allows players to creatively interpret and express their understanding of the Beyond Citadel story with a focus on the forbidden love aspect. Emphasize the video's exploration of the deplorable aspects of the forbidden love story through Nikki's fashion choices. Wow. Do you think? Again, like this doesn't. If you use this to try to get ideas, this feels like slop. It's just word slop constantly, right? If I was actually going to make something genuinely novel, and I wanted to make something novel, I wouldn't want to do this, right? I wouldn't even want to begin using this because it's just slop all the way through. And look at these titles. Forbidden Love in Nikki's Closet, recreated. Beyond Citadel's Romance, Nikki Style Edition. That's funny. Nikki Style Edition. I'll take that. There's also this one down here. Is this Final Fantasy? I think this might be Final Fantasy. Forbidden Love looks inspired by game characters. Okay, and then now this is some of the thumbnails I couldn't make, but there is love, except one person is a robot. Huh. Hook viewers with a captivating question about forbidden love in video games. Introduce the concept. Why do you hook the viewers? Again, it just doesn't. And look at the format. It's just so dry. The format is so dry. There's no thought behind it. But there's also no question and no dilemma posed to the viewer. It feels like the AI wants to generate videos that people want to watch. But isn't the point of art in general to tell people even things that they may not want to hear, right? Things that they have to hear, but they may not want to hear. Because otherwise, why would you make Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List, right? We don't want to hear that stuff. It's painful to even think about, but you have to. You can't ignore it, right? It just misses the point. I don't know. Why would you use this? Anyways, Infinity Nikki look up just around the deplorable, disgusting, and forbidden, terrible, around the deplorable. Oh wait, Beyond Citadel and Infinity Nikki mashup. Okay, here we go. And I find this feature so funny because again, if you use this feature, your videos are gonna feel like AI videos because the AI has no concept of artistry. It's just regurgitation. And so you do this, and then eventually your slop looks like every other slop. And it's like, why would you want to do this? Even if you don't use any of the art or the words themselves, if you just use the concept, it's going to go downhill all of a sudden because it's formulaic, right? There's no real difference between this and everything else. It's just following a system and a framework, and eventually, in doing so, it becomes nothing. The individual becomes nothing because it is simply a part of the whole, a part of the framework. I don't know. I'm just kind of like underwhelmed by the AI stuff. So, but I do like the fact that it keeps trying to. I don't know why the AI is so insistent on combining Infinity Nikki. Again, before we did this, it started with that. I don't know why it's so insistent on the Infinity Nikki thing. And look at this image. That's cursed. That's a little cursed. Like this looks like an Infinity Nikki theme beyond Citadel mod. So yeah, good stuff here. I really did enjoy this, and I love seeing this sort of happen to me all the time. I don't know why this keeps on happening to me, but I don't know why this feature came out of nowhere too. Does anybody else have a channel? Do you have this feature, and why is it here? It doesn't make any sense to me. This thing showed up as soon as I got the affiliate thing, or the partner thing, and I was like, well, I don't want this. There's also something to be said about a game that we all know about. Surprisingly, quite a few of us. This was posted in the Discord. I had some short thoughts when I posted in the Discord about how unfortunate the entire thing is, right? For many different reasons. I mean, it's dealing with an intersection of the world. This is your time to click away if you don't enjoy hearing about topics like crime and law and the role of a prison system and my thoughts on the prison system. Apparently this happened. So chat posted this. It was posted posted today, actually. No, yesterday. The developer for Fortune's Run is going to prison for 3 years. And I made a joke. I was like, game dev gets closer to JS dev. And then, that's a very deep cut reference. But then I also put a very serious statement about how, if you read this, I'm not going to read the entire thing, but it feels like they are understandably remorseful about what they've done. They know that they've been a bad person. Presumably they've changed. And so you have to sort of wonder, why are they going to jail instead of doing anything else, right? Within jail, they not only lose their life, and so in many ways they're pushed towards back into a life of crime. They also have no opportunities in jail, so they can't do anything within prison. They can't even get a job, and it stays with them forever, obviously. And on some degree, it's sort of like you chose what you did, right? On some level, but we don't really know the circumstances. So can you really choose your circumstances? Can you choose when you were born? Not necessarily. But let's say, if you argue that he should have known what he was doing, then maybe, sure. But at the same time, clearly he knows what he was doing, and he, it is very, very remorseful for it. At least that's the tone that I get. And he's making something of his life that's taking him out of that situation. So isn't he already rehabilitated? So what's the point of the prison sentence other than for retribution? And could that not have been done in any other way, such as him giving his money over as restitution if they wanted to? Having a meeting, doing community service, like anything else, right? It's fascinating to see. Obviously, it was a violent crime, and we don't know what the extent of the violence was. It's either because when you say violent crime, right? Someone dies or someone got punched in the face. We don't really know, right? Someone could be, paralyzed for life. Someone could have had a little oopsie owie wowie, right? We don't really know. It could have been as simple as a spat between two people where, they got into a fist fight at school over the age of 18, right? And then it's counted much more heavily. I know for sure if I got into fights, not in high school, but after high school, I would have gone to the jail to some degree. And I sort of wonder, what was the point of that? Because in there, I would have probably just stuck with it because that's the only thing that I know how to do now. So it's interesting to sort of see this go down. Fortune's run is going to be on pause for 3 years. And again, this happened in JavaScript as well. There was a package developer. He made packages for... It was a shim. It was a shim for for node functions in browsers. And he accidentally or willfully, it's sort of difficult to describe with those terms because there's so much in the before that leads up to the event that could have affected that moment in time. But he ran over someone and killed them on his motorcycle. Went to jail for a couple of years. I think he's out now, still updating the package. So, yeah, it's interesting to sort of see this sort of come full circle. It's a bingo on your bingo card that you never really think about. But there's always the possibility that someone that someone you work with is going to go to jail for a long time. Because it's something that they did. And again, it's sort of sad to see. This is because prison, again, if the point of prison is rehabilitation, then this person is already rehabilitated, but there's still probably lingering pains from the person who they faulted. So maybe we look to other systems in order to help them find peace, find closure, right? And ultimately pay retributions and restitutions, maybe not only through money, but through emotions as well. Right, so very, very classic. Well, I guess now classic, but systems that Canada, for instance, is adopting to some degree of effectiveness. I don't really know, but there's different levels of effectiveness here. But at least for this situation, I could see those systems working here. Right, the way that it is now, I wouldn't be surprised if this person turns back to a life of violence and crime just to survive. As well as when they get out of jail, what are the odds that they even make money from this game anymore, right? Because how do you still have your possessions? Do you still have anything after? Who do they even leave it with, right? People who do this stuff tend not to have anybody in life anyways, so, who do you really trust to keep this stuff stable for you? And what if they just take it all? It's, again, very sad stuff, and I'm just sort of surprised that very, very surprised that this went on. Obviously, though, again, there's also that larger discussion of like, well, what happened before? Sorry, I clicked on. I hate the follower panel. God damn it, I hate the follower panel. It's like the stupid activity panel. So I find it so unfortunate because, is there really no other solution that could have worked here? But I mean, it's fascinating to see. It's sort of the reality that game developers are people too, right? All that they do and all that they are, they're still people too, flawed or otherwise. And so we've seen a lot of flaws and a lot of good things too. It's important to remind yourself that people are people, and people are capable of many, many things, good and bad. There's a very somber note to go on, but I just wanted to just show this because again, we actually played this, and this game is really good. I'm mind blown because this is a double whammy of unfortunate stuff. Okay, one, their publisher started firing people left and right. So You can see the game is now being published by Team Fortune. That wasn't the case before. They were being published before by Forgotten Realms, and that publisher just imploded. So everybody got shafted, basically. All the IPs that were with them got canceled. Like it was bad. Anybody who had their IP and was able to keep it, they were able to compete for it. It was a very messy time. So they survived that into this. It's like, damn, that sucks. But yet they somehow made a patch. So there's a new mission. There's stealth stuff. There's a new boss. It's like, damn, that's nuts. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me to see this. You never really know what's on your bingo cards. You wake up and you go, "There's no way things will happen like that, right?" But no, I mean, you never really know what's going to happen in the life, and it's always interesting to see. Again, people are good and they're bad, and you just don't know. Oh no, sorry, YouTube is stuck on playing a song. I actually do have a song for you all. It's a new song actually. It's by an artist that you've heard before. His name is Mono. So it's not this song that's playing. So before we begin, because we're gonna go right into Beyond Citadel after and try out and see if we can actually get that other ending. Because when I shot the things, it didn't die, but maybe I didn't do enough damage. This artist is Mono, which you heard before on that day when we were listening, when we were playing Beyond Citadel, when I made the love song playlist. I played Emsing and Emson, and then also, but he pronounces it in like a very very elongated way, so it kind of sounds like Emsing, but as well as his other song, which I can't remember, where he's finding love. He made a new song 2 months ago called Jamwa, so it's like too slow. And it's one of those like other ballady type songs. I would say his other two songs were much more groovy. This is more of a traditional sort of love pop ballad, like a romance ballad. But it's still traditional or not. I think it's a fantastic song, no matter how you slice it. And I really like his voice. There's something that he has a very very nice voice with really solid control. Or maybe I don't really know if it's good control, but like there's something about the way that he uses his voice that indicates to me that he's actually a really good singer. Basically, I wish I had his voice on some level, and I struggle a lot to make my voice sound as good as these people's voices do because my voice is so. I don't like the pitch of my voice. My voice pitch is in between deep and nice and high and useful. You know what I mean? Like a high voice is very useful for singing. A deep voice is very good to listen to. But my voice is in that mid ground where I don't really like it and I can't really use it, and so I have to be very creative. And there's only a handful of keys I sound good in, but I've been trying to push myself to think of more songs that can crack that. So I think I'm getting closer and closer, and you'll see songs soon eventually, but it takes time for me to get used to and accustomed to how I sound like before I'm willing to put these songs out, and also just in terms of how long it takes to make. So please enjoy the song. Before the song played, talked about his good singing. His music is very nice. I like the writing of it too. Again, with songs, now that I know about songwriters, I'm never really sure who writes the song and necessarily where the song's a source from. In a way, it breaks the illusion that people actually do work off of their talent and the skill. Not to say that they're talentless or skillless, but I thought the entire thing was like a whole one person production. I just always thought artists were their own thing. But when I learned about that at some point, I remember having my dream shattered, and I was like, I guess maybe I should have been born rich. What a skill issue. One other thing that I want to talk about though, that dude's 5'5'7". Okay, you might be wondering why I'm saying this. Very important. Chat. He's a model for Dior. So I want you to know this. I want you to know, short kings out there. Short kings out there. Okay. You too can be a model for Dior, even at 5'6". You just need to look good. You just need to look like stunningly handsome, because that dude actually genuinely looks like he looks like a model. You know what I mean? Like some people, you look at them, you're like, you look like a model. It's specifically that model quality of other person's look that makes them a model. And I've noticed that this is always true because the industry itself picks for that. The industry picks people who have weird, interesting looks about them, and either they look. And it's not just that they look good, it's that they look interesting to look at. And that interesting quality is also now, what's that term? Synonym is it's like the word synonym, but for things. I sorry, the word was in my head and then it disappeared. But it's now synonymous with the idea of being a model. Ah, man. Anyways, I'm just saying, you might see me on some billboard soon. I just need to call Dior and be like, look, 5'6", I'm your man. But we're gonna move on now to Beyond Citadel because I just want to see what the ending is like, really quick. Just want to try it out. We're just gonna do it really fast, 5 minutes in and out, and then we'll just move on from it back into the Flipside fights because we're not even done. There's so many different demos in there. But we're only gonna do 1 and 2 because I also want to do some more infra, which is the puzzle game where we're a safety inspector for some place on the ground. So give me a moment to set things up. I also need to turn off the heat. It's so freakishly hot. So just give me a second. Okay, do you hear any high winds? Do you hear like a wind speed thing? Does it feel like you're in an airplane, for instance? Does it feel good or does it feel bad? I'm hoping you don't hear anything because this thing is quite loud, but it is there. Sorry, I'm still just starting up the game. Also, apparently you can pre-purchase Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and it's on sale. I don't really what. The game hasn't even come. Well, the game has come out, but now it's on sale. Hey, look, there's a new update for the game. I have to update it again. What? Pause key can be remapped now. That's good. Intro dialogue is a bit slower. Oh, thank God. And the intro dialogue to Beyond Citadel was so fast I couldn't read it. I will say there's a lot of games where I think what it is that they read it so much that they know the words, so they can kind of glaze. They can kind of not glaze. Glaze is the wrong word. They can kind of speed through reading what the words mean, right? But if you take it as your first time, it's basically impossible to know what these things are saying. It's very, very difficult because you have to take your time to understand the words as they enter your mind from your eyes. Unfortunately. Anyways, give me a second. This should start now. I'm out, everyone. I have to go. I gotta prepare for some more interviews tomorrow. What day is the day? Yeah, tomorrow, as well as the day after. I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow. I probably won't be, depending on how long it takes. I'm assuming it's not gonna be too long, but last time I had an informal interview like this, it took like 2, 3, 4 hours, and I was tired, and I was like, okay, well. But I got the job, so, well, not this job, but it's one of those informal ones where you don't really know how it's going to go, whether it's going to be a guaranteed job or not, so we'll see how it goes. Either way, I need to go now. Thanks for showing up, everyone. I like playing puzzle games, so we should do this more often. Flipside Fights will be probably Friday. Let's just assume everything's Friday. If I come back on tomorrow, we'll figure out what to do. It's unplanned at the moment, so I have no clue. See you all on Discord, and be sure to send me your Minesweeper online scores. I still haven't found a single golden cell, so we'll get something eventually. Hopefully something good. Is there anybody that can raid? I know. Can I raid back anybody? Any one of you who's still awake? Well, you know what? I'm going to be watching Jerma because he's playing in a Nancy Drew, and the Drew crew is finally back. So, bye everyone.